So one of the cool things we saw at the Game Awards was the release date trailer for Black Myth Wukong. And if you don't know Black Myth Wukong, this is that game that's been around for years. Everybody, when we first saw it, thought it was way too good to be true. Everybody was like, that looks really, really good. How is this running? How is this working? So like, this is what you might have seen before. And it was footage that didn't look bad. In fact, it looked graphically very, very good, but there was just something about it where we didn't hear any details about gameplay. It's from a pretty unknown studio. It's based on Journey to the West's mythology and everything. So it seemed interesting enough, but we just didn't know anything about it. It's like, yeah, it looks gorgeous, but we've seen before, gorgeous games can often end up being based on like fraud, or it's like all of this was scripted heavily. We just saw this with the day before, where they show very heavily scripted gameplay sequences, and then we get the game itself, and none of that's in the game. So whenever there's an unknown quantity in the form of the development company or the publisher, I think it's worth being very skeptical and being like, okay, it looks great. What you're showing here looks amazing. If this is in the game, I'm very excited, but we just don't know if you're actually going to be able to deliver this. And time has gone by, years and years, but we actually got a reveal of a release date trailer, and it actually looks just as good, if not better, than what we had before. And they're giving it a release date. We get more looks at gameplay, different environments, and like some of the stuff they're doing here is just crazy.
Then why is there always suffering? And why do the bad folks always win?
Because goodness without teeth punishes not. It only foments evil. Cleanse the world with blood and grow lotuses in it. That is your destiny.
The keeper of the New West. Welcome, the Destined One.
The Destined One who doesn't even know what he's destined for?
Doesn't it look sick?
Those old rascals, they surely know how to name.
Tell me then, is my kind destined for extermination? You're driven by greed, not destiny.
So this is the face of the Destined One. It will fit me just as well.
Bathed in blood, yet preaching peace. Oh, you immortals, pray enlighten me. What justifies your superiority?
Right? Right? August 20th. August 20th. So I'm about it. I think it looks really, really good. As we've said before, though, it's from an unknown quantity as far as I understand it. So it's being developed by Game Science. Is this it? Game Science. I don't know what else they've ever worked on. Have they worked on other stuff before? Where's Game Science's main website? Okay, here it is. So they've made this. They made Red Tides. Okay. 100 Heroes. They have done mobile game stuff, but it doesn't look like anything else. So this is like their first foray into big AAA development for console and PC games. And it looks very, very good, of course, but we just don't know. You just don't know till you get your hands on it because this is new for them. So it might be that this is their first foray and it ends up being like amazingly impressive. And it's like, okay, they just casually waltzed up and are one of the industry's leading devs. That's crazy. Maybe. Or maybe it ends up being pretty good or a great foundation and there's some other weird clunk to it. Who knows? We'll see. One thing I've been curious with, though, is that all of these like Chinese and Japanese developers that have gotten tons of money from like Tencent, I've been curious how they continued to kind of make their way into the AAA
Stefan
space in the
Constantine
console realm as
Dimitri
well.
is now a red flag.
So one of the other developers that's kind of come out of nowhere were the devs of Crimson Desert, who you might have heard, or you might have heard about this, because this game also looks crazy, crazy good. But in some ways, it looks too good to be true because there's just so many little mechanics. Like there's all this fantastic systems with like riding horses. The open world seems really, really robust. There's like paragliding, hunting. So there's Witcher 3 elements, Red Dead 2 elements mixed in here. There's Monster Hunter elements. Like this game seems to just be wild in terms of scope. But it's coming from a dev that we don't really know how they'll handle this because their other game is, of course, Black Desert Online, which many people have talked about how horrifically monetized it is. It is super toxic. But my question is maybe, like, why couldn't some of these developers release these hyper monetized games that make tons of money, like Black Desert Online or like Game Science's other mobile games, and then use those funds to also step into the AAA space in the single player realm, and then have fantastically huge scope games there that aren't trying to like 10x their investment, but rather are just hoping to make a return, get their name out there in the public eye more, give them, you know, maybe some acclaim, some awards and stuff like that, and do both. So you have the mobile games that make tons of money, but then you also use some of that money that you make to make really good single player games. I just don't know if all of these are going to be monetized out the ass, just like Black Desert Online has been, or if maybe these are more pro-consumer and then, you know, Black Desert Online is their outlet for the hyper monetization. Who knows? Who knows? Some people will be like, nope, absolutely not. It's not going to work because they're just greedy and they're going to shove tons of microtransactions into Crimson Desert, tons of microtransactions into Black Myth Wukong. Maybe. We just don't know yet. I think it's worth being skeptical because all of the other stuff they've done is heavily monetized like that. But that doesn't mean necessarily that this is going to end up being terrible or over monetized. It could be that they have a bunch of very talented devs that are making these games that are heavily monetized, and those devs want a creative outlet that they can be more proud of and where they can get some acclaim. And like, this is the other thing. I know a lot of people are like, oh, these corporations are just purely greedy. Sometimes, yes, that is the case. Other times it's a mixture of the greed and then also like, even the world's most greedy people like being loved. They like being respected. They like being appreciated. So I wouldn't put it past them if they want to spend some of that money and maybe make a little bit less on the return on the investment, but rather get some acclaim, get some recognition in the broader gaming journalism space, and be appreciated and respected as developers. And the other big piece for that is that when you have acclaim, when you have respect within the industry, your odds of attracting quality talent go up significantly. Just ask yourself, if you're getting into game development, where do you want to work? You want to work at Naughty Dog. You want to work at Sony Santa Monica. You want to work at Insomniac. You want to work at Rockstar. Those are the places you want to work because they have this acclaim, because they have this reputation. They've won all these awards. You want to work for the best of the best. And that would mean that you're the best of the best. Nobody is like getting out of their art school or game development program and then going and seeking out like some knockoff mobile game developer to make gotcha games and like bejeweled knockoffs. Nobody wants to do that. They want to work for really well-established and awarded studios. And so if that studio can attract that talent by being well awarded and things, that can help them create better games that will in turn do better, perform better, make more money. And so it's a big cycle. It's not as simple as just shove tons of microtransactions in and we'll call it good. There's many different things to consider. He took my thing.